All right, so there's reports that somewhere around like 1,200 Hezbollah fighters blew up today at the same time when their beepers went off. So either IDF or Mossad or some Jewish fucking MacGyver, he rigged 1,200 beepers to go off at the same time, essentially like blowing these people up. Here's a video from a grocery store. Oh, yeah, what do you think I'm gonna fucking feel bad for you? You're a terrorist. Like, the fucking best part is, the fucking, on top of it being hilarious, because this isn't like 1998, they used beepers. Beepers go in your pocket. Your dick is next to your pocket. Like, I saw a video, it's too graphic to share on here. There's like one dude whose face was blown off, and I'm like, that's not where you even put your beeper. Like, what is it? So he got a beep, and he was just like reading it like this. Like, if you guys think I'm fucking cruel for like laughing at this, go watch the 47-minute video from fucking October 7th, okay? Fuck yourself. Listen, I have a rule. I do not celebrate the death of anyone except for pedophiles and terrorists. All right? It's a good rule. When that happens, you should be like, yay. So there's like 1,200 like yays like right now. I just think it's fucking crazy. Like, who made them? How long did it take to make them? Hold on, you took like C4 or some shit, you put it in a beeper 1,200 times, and then what did, like, Hezbollah just like line up in like the free beeper line? I don't know how they did this, but it's fucking legendary, because even if they didn't kill them, they're not reproducing. So, it's not like they can just make more terrorists. Fucking epic. It's just epic.
Welcome to another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast. I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, leave your comments. For all of your South Florida real estate needs, make sure to get in contact with me. You can follow me at Rafi the Realtor. Check out my weekly newsletter to stay in the know of everything South Florida. This week, I have a guest that I've been following probably weeks after October 7th. He's become very, very, very popular in the Jewish social media world, well known outside of it too. But I mean, so many people I know follow you on Instagram, especially, and it's really, I'm really happy to finally be sitting down with you, man. So, Zack Bonifilo, aka the Misfit Patriot, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's funny you said I'm well known in the Jewish world. It's sort of like I accidentally fell into that because I'm not Jewish, not Israeli, not really before October 7th, not really into, like Zionism and all of that. But my first post that I made, which was probably a day after or maybe the same day, I can't remember. All I said was, whatever happened to the September 12th mentality in this country, which was after 9/11, we all, the Americans, we came together and we sort of said, hey, we are against radical Islamic terrorism. It was just this unifying moment and it brought us together. And then I saw the opposite happen on October 7th, where it seemed like people were siding with the terrorists. And it really bothered me. And I sort of just spoke out about that. It went viral. And then the reaction to that, I'm one of those people where, you tell me not to say something, I'll say it twice. and the people that essentially were trying to, cancel me over that opinion, it forced me to really speak out, and hasn't stopped, and no plans to either, until we get this problem under control. I think it's a big enough problem and an important problem from an American conservative perspective to bring the country back to that September 12th mentality, because If it seems like we have more of a September 10th mentality where we're looking at this issue like it's not a big issue, and it's not a big issue until it is.
Right. I want to get into that, but I also don't want to miss out on properly introducing you.
Sure.
So, for whoever does know you, they know you. For whoever doesn't, Zach is a self-made entrepreneur, a conservative commentator, the host of the TMP Uncensored podcast on Rumble. You don't do it on YouTube, or you? Because I saw on your.
I have a YouTube, but after YouTube started banning me and censoring me, I just stopped streaming on it. I was just sort of like, okay, what's the point? So I moved over to Rumble, and I didn't want to have dual audiences. I want to bring people over to the platform that I believe is more free speech. So
Mhm.
I have a YouTube. It's just I don't use it really that
Yeah.
much.
It's funny because I don't go on. I don't post on Rumble at all. I feel like probably a big mistake. I should.
You should try it out, man. It's
Yeah.
it's gro it's growing very fast.
Yeah, I really will. I have to do it. Okay. Uh, okay, yeah, hailing from Texas, vocal constitutionalist with a no-nonsense approach, challenging political extremism and cancel culture, known for your unapologetic personality. That is for sure. You spark debate on platforms like X, Instagram, TikTok, focusing on current events, personal accountability, and conservative values, with a background in home remodeling and a knack for trolling. Yeah, dude, 100%. Built a following through candid, often controversial takes. You can follow him at beacons.ai/the Misfit Patriot for all socials. I will add that in the description.
Sure.
So, dude, starting off with the first point you made about if you kind of trigger somebody, you like to say it twice. You like to double down on it. So
Yeah.
then you mentioned the bringing back Americans to a September 12th mentality.
Yeah.
September 11th obviously rings in a lot of people's minds, the 9/11, the attacks on 9/11. There's a lot of controversy nowadays where people are saying it was an inside job. A lot of people are blaming Israel for it.
Hmm.
Now it's becoming more and more normal for people to criticize Israel, for people to to put all the blame on Israel as opposed to Hamas for what's going on in Gaza, starvation, etc. Have you found moments where you doubted your stance on Israel, or did you just become more and more of a supporter? You're not a Jewish guy.
Right.
There are non-Jews who do plenty of non-Jews who support Israel, support the Jewish people, but
The thing is, I haven't changed my position on the nation state of Israel or the Israeli government, which is I don't have a position on the nation state of Israel or the Israeli government. I look at them like any other government. I'm sure there's probably corruption in there. There's corruption in our own government. My government
absolutely.
has corruption. So it would be ignorant of me to blindly follow some foreign government that I don't even really know about. And I've been very clear that I don't really necessarily support the Israeli government. What I do
Right.
support is the Jewish people because I'm a Christian, right? And I believe in the Abrahamic covenant. I believe that we are supposed to bless the people. And it just so happens that Israel, which in my view is the land and the people, and it just so happens that when Theodore Herzl put together this wonderful experiment called Zionism, he wasn't even really dead set on being in the place where Israel is now. They sort of fell into that location, and it just so happens that the nation state of Israel is sitting right on top of the place that I support, which is Israel, right? And I think I think that confuses people because there's this gaslighting tactic that the anti-Zionists will use. And they'll be like, you support Bibi, you support Israel, the nation state, you support their government. And I'm like, if you can find a post where I was like going all gung-ho about the Israeli government, I've taken a position of being anti-terrorist, pro-America, and pro-Jewish people, right? And I don't think that's a controversial stance. I don't think that's a stance that anybody should criticize, yet they do. And I think what's happening right now in the world, but a lot in America, is what I believe would probably have happened in 1930s Germany, where you're demonizing and dehumanizing a people group, and making it okay for the hate to reach an inflection point, and then you have people who are becoming more and more radicalized, and they're becoming more and more extreme, and you see events like the shooting in DC, at the Jewish Museum, where two Israeli ambassadors were shot in cold blood while some guy chanted "Free Palestine," or the Boulder, Colorado. Was it Boulder? It was in Colorado, I believe it was Boulder, where the guy was throwing Molotov cocktails on Jews, right? And that's my position. I'm taking an American position. This is happening in my country. It's the radicalism is happening in my party. So I do support the Jewish people. I support Israel. I have nothing against Israel, but I wouldn't call myself an advocate for the nation state of Israel at all.
Okay, that's perfectly fair. There's a lot of us that have our criticisms. I think if only people knew how many different opinions the overall Jewish population had based on how the government should handle things, how the country should be run. You have the
Sure.
Orthodox that think so. We don't have no issue with that. There's no the
Yep,
percentage of Jewish people in and outside of Israel that have an issue with criticizing the government are basically zero. We don't have an
exactly.
issue with that. The issue we have is that people are finding all of these quote unquote brilliant reasons to delegitimize the Jewish state altogether.
Correct. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I think that when you look at modern Zionism, which now the people that they are now they're bastardizing the word Zionist and trying to use it as a slur, the same way the woke left overused racist, so it's lost all of its meaning. But the what modern Zionism is, to my understanding, it's a belief that the Jewish people should have a right to live in peace in their homeland, right? And I don't understand how anyone has an issue with that if that's the definition, right? So what they're doing is they're changing the definition, right? Because I think that the people in New Zealand should have a right to live in peace. I
They
think that
don't because they don't look at us. The sad reality is that a lot of people don't, and it does come from an unwillingness to accept reality.
correct.
But people will find any reason to delegitimize, right? The
Well,
Ashkenazi Jews aren't the real Jews. The Mizrahi Jews are also not the same. Then you'll have
yeah.
people that say, well, it's actually the Jews were initially African. So there's no matter anything we do, somebody finds that. But what's funny is just a quick point is they'll say, for example, the Ashkenazi Jews are Khazars and fake Jews, but then when those rabbis, those that small group of rabbis they're holding up Palestinian flags,
Yeah,
whenever you
yeah.
see those videos on social media and you see them hugging people who are pro-Palestinian, all the comments are, "These are the real Jews. See, this is
Those are
a
the
real
the
Jew,
five.
real Jew, real Jew, real Jew, real
Yeah.
Jew." It's like it's interesting. So those same people, if they didn't support the cause, would be fake, but since they do support the cause, they're the realest ones.
Well, it's the tyranny of the minority, right? It's the same argument with the left in the trans issue and like the detran like what's it called? Put the transitioning children and stuff like that. This is like a 1% of the population, yet the problem was so big because they were the loudest voices, right? So the pals I said this to somebody a while back. I was like, all right, if you take 5% of Jews, 16 million Jews, that's 800,000, right? If you have 800,000 Jews that are anti-Israel, that's a lot. I'm sure you can find one, right? But trying to say that that 5% would be the majority and these are the real Jews, it's a tyranny of the minority where they're trying saying don't believe your lying eyes and ears. The vast majority of Jews, to my understanding, is that they are Zionists. And when let's say I think that the numbers are between 80 and 90% or something like that. When you hate 80 or 90% of a people group, you hate the people group, right? So if the vast majority of Jews are Zionists, and you say you hate Zionists, you hate Jews. There's no argument against. Imagine if you said I only hate 80% of black people. I'm not racist. I only hate 80%. I only hate the black people that
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to live in peace in Africa. Only those ones, right? And like people would look at you like you're crazy. So
yeah.
this and we're seeing it, like I said, we're seeing it in my own party. I expect this from the left. I've seen the craziness and the radicalization of the left, the Free Palestine movement. It's not like I'm saying it's okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't speak out against it, but when I see the people on the right, the America First people, we started calling them the woke right because they're hyper fixated on identity politics and being these ultra nationalists They're essentially the mirror image of the left, where the left is the socialist and the right is the nationalist, and they're both screaming about the Jews at the same time. It's called I don't know if you've heard of
Horseshoe theory
horseshoe theory, right? It's horseshoe theory,
happens.
and
It happens all the time throughout
well,
history, dude.
I
This
just
happens to
saw Elijah.
Jews every time. Yeah.
I just saw Elijah Schaffer posted about American Eagle, right? And he's like, American Eagle is ran by Jews. And I'm like, okay, the woke left is saying that the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney ad is Nazi propaganda. And the woke right is saying it's Jewish propaganda. I was like, that's horseshoe theory in effect. And it's so easily recognizable to anybody who's really paying attention. The problem is so many big name, so many, I'm trying to say this. All right, perfect example, Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is a hilarious comedian. He's also functionally retarded. He is not smart. He has never been smart. He is not a smart person. But when he starts talking about politics, you have Andrew Schultz, again, a brilliant comedian who is like, makes me laugh, hilarious. I would like to have a beer with him. When he starts saying the real America First people are the Democratic Socialists, I'm like, why are you listening to these people? They're the loudest voices with the biggest following, but they're
That's
also
what he
the
said.
dumbest. Yes,
The
he
real
said it.
America First are Democratic Socialists?
Correct. He said Zohan Mamdani is real America First. And then he clarified, he said he obviously doesn't agree with his politics, and Dave Portnoy went at him. But what I'm saying is these sound bites from these people, they're falling into the same woke mind virus toxic groupthink that the left did. And because nobody on the left ever called out their own crazies, right? That's how it got so bad. The reason we got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, which I don't know where you are politically, but I'm a conservative.
I
When you,
think I don't know. I figured you could figure that out by now, Zach.
yeah, no, I figured.
Yeah.
But when you have a cackling drunk hyena who's literally like functionally retarded running for president of the United States after pushing out a guy who's clearly senile who was the president of the United States, you have lost the thread. And you look at the Democratic Party now, who's leader of their party? AOC, a
All right.
bartender who's, again, one of the dumbest human beings on the planet. That's the leader of their party. So if we don't do something like what I'm doing, which is calling out my own side, I call it the left too, but I have to now focus on my own side. I have to clean my own house. When I'm seeing that there are people on the right who are falling into this Jew hatred psyop, I think that it's one of the most important issues. And that's why, again, as you said, when people tell me to shut up, I say it twice. I feel like there was a concerted effort to try to keep me quiet because I'm one of those people who is not only unapologetic, but I'm uncancelable, right? You can't cancel me. The left tried. I work for myself. You can't threaten me. You can't harass me. You can't dox me. You can't do anything to me to get me to stop talking. Andrew Tate is suing me right now to get me to shut up, and I don't do that.
Really? Why
Oh
is he
yeah,
suing you?
defamation for calling him a
Oh,
sex trafficking pedophile after he
all right.
called himself sex trafficker, and well, he's being he's being charged right now with pedophilia. Anyway, but long story short, anything you do to me, it doesn't work. One of my friends has this quote. I love it. It's he goes, when the cancel mob tries to cancel somebody, usually they hit them and that person will fall down. When they hit you, they break their hand and blame you for it. And I was like, so I think without trying to sound too, braggadocious, I think that I'm the perfect spokesman for it because not only am I saying the right things, but you can't change my mind. You said, have I ever had doubts about my position? No, right? Because it's not the position that I'm being portrayed as. My position is common sense, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. It's not an allegiance to some foreign government of globalist Jews that are trying to take over the world and sacrifice babies. Like it's not it's not that. So there's no like it's like calling me it's like when they called me
Sit with me, Zach, at my
yeah.
table. Sit with me.
It would
Okay.
be like if somebody was calling like an NBA player short, right? It's like
Yeah.
like they're saying things to me that aren't true. So I don't
Right.
know how
You just don't
how
care.
yeah, like, how can I care when they're not? If they were on point, then I guess I would probably be more offended, but I'm not offended because nothing that they're saying is true.
So, Zach, let me ask you though, because I just want to play devil's advocate a bit. Uh, you know, everybody now is up Israel's ass for this war, right? It's an ongoing 2-year war. I'm not looking to ask you about your stance on the Israeli government. That's something you don't necessarily care about. Maybe you don't know
I
much about it,
I can talk
but
about it, yeah.
right. But I have my opinions. I served in the IDF. Maybe you saw my bio. I have firsthand experience. I served in the West Bank. I'm not just somebody giving opinions. I have a lot of real knowledge.
Sure. Yeah, you're more
Um,
qualified than me.
well, I asked this to ask. I really would love to hear your opinion on certain things. When it comes to the current war in Gaza, Israel's getting tons of smoke for starvation. A lot of things are coming out showing how a lot of this is nonsense. There's been aid sitting there. It's not being picked up.
Hmm.
What do you think should happen? I mean, the Hamas refuses to give the hostages back. They
Yeah.
should give the damn hostages back. I don't know if it's
Hmm.
damn hostage. They should give the hostages back.
No, I get what you're saying.
And you know what I mean. And surrender. They're unwilling to do it. Israel knows they're not going to surrender. They have to
Sure.
make them. They have to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I have my opinions, but I mean, where do you see this going? What do you think needs to happen? I know you don't
Again,
mince words. Keep it real.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
Again, like I said, it's not that I won't comment on the war, right? But
yeah.
I was more alluding to the fact that I don't necessarily have an opinion on the inner workings of the government. But as far as the war goes, I've studied it as much as anybody else. I mean, one of my favorite people to follow is John Spencer, who's like a military expert that has been breaking down this war, and he's been doing it very methodically with actual statistics and real data instead of leading with an emotional argument, right? Like some other people. And what he has laid out is the combatant to civilian ratio in this war is it's pretty much the lowest in any foreign conflict that's even remotely comparable. And there are really no comparable conflicts like this, because what happened on October 7th was they went in and they, did the raping and murdering and slaughtering of 1,200 people. Then they ran back into a civilian area and they hid in the civilian area. The closest thing that I think anybody's given is like it's like Beirut, but it's like Beirut wasn't a 2 year conflict where they were using human shields. It's got some similarities. So there's really nothing to compare this to. So as far as Israel and what they have done, I think it's very impressive that they have been able to ignore the noise and stay on mission. If it was me, and I'm not a military expert, so this shouldn't matter, but if it was me, I probably would have gone harder. I
Mhm.
probably would have done more. Um, and hindsight's 2020, right? Monday morning quarterback is 2020. If you did it my way, maybe you wouldn't have gotten as many hostages back. So I think that Israel is doing a really good job of handling the conflict. And then as far the reason why they're losing the information war is it's a sheer numbers game, man. There's how many Muslims versus how many Jews. There's like 2 billion Muslims versus 16 million Jews. They're widely outnumbered, and people are very tribal. So their tribe is bigger. The tribe is also using a lot of resources to get infiltrating on social media and using propaganda campaigns. Like, have you heard of Pallywood? Where they get the
Of
rubber
course.
baby,
Well,
the rubber
of course.
babies, and the murder
People
porn that.
also can't handle the sight of death, and I
Yeah,
understand. Anyone who hasn't been in a military environment, or anyone who hasn't lived in a tough environment, you show anyone a picture of a baby. Listen, it's a terrible sight. Let's be
it's
honest.
horrible.
It looks terrible. It is terrible.
Yeah.
But if you say, "Oh, dead person bad, country country who is fighting this group is automatically wrong and bad. They are not able to fight this war. Civilians are dying. You have to stop."
I
If that's all you're going to do, if you can't look further than that, I don't know what I can. There's no. If
I
Israel cannot, the Israeli government, Netanyahu, everyone else, every Jew has to understand that in order to effectively get to a point where we're victorious, we're
yeah.
not only, and we'll go further into this, but not only does Hamas surrender, but the overall Palestinian population understands that they have been defeated as of 1948, and it's not worth to continue fighting.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate point here. Israel needs to, no matter how much pressure we get from the international community, we have to finish what we started.
Think about how you end a war, right? I mean, you end a war by creating an insufferable environment for the opposing side, right? Because wars are ended when one side goes, okay, that's too much, right? So, like I said, in my opinion, Israel could have done more and this war could have been over by now because they could have made it incredibly insufferable. I
The
don't know.
hostages. It was all about
It
the
was,
hostages.
hey,
Hamas played it very smart.
And Hamas knew that, but I don't know of a conflict where the people who are in the conflict, right, are forced to feed the people that attacked them, right? And
Oh, yeah.
that's what's happening, right? I said this before, I'll say it again, and I have no apologies for saying it. I would not have let 1 ounce of grain into that area. I wouldn't have. And you could
Neither would anyone
call
else. Zach, only
call me a monster, but I wouldn't have because I would have been like, hey, how long is it going to take them to starve? Okay, they will give up. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, will kids die? Yes. We dropped 2 bombs. We dropped one on Hiroshima, one on Nagasaki. We killed innocent civilians in the war against Hitler. Operation Gomorrah, they dropped 9,000 tons over Hamburg, Germany in civilian areas. Do you know why they chose civilian areas? Because they wanted to break the will of the Nazis. And
Mhm.
nobody called Churchill a genocidal maniac. I mean, now Dave Smith, like using hindsight to reinforce his argument, but at the time, nobody was calling him a genocidal maniac.
All
The
right. I
word,
definitely want to get into Dave Smith with you, and I
yeah,
would love to debate him. Man,
me
I'm really
too.
like I'm tired of people not having proper arguments for him.
Well, you know
Um,
what the problem? If I was thinking about this the other day, if Dave Smith ever did accept a debate with me, I wouldn't debate him. I would insult him. I would attack him hard, and I would just continuously bring up his own words, and I would make it all about him because what he likes to do is he likes to gaslight and deflect and say, "No, do you have any actual arguments? Do you have any actual substance arguments of the framing that I used in order to frame this?" I would have been, "No, you tell me what you meant by this, right?" And nobody does that to him. Nobody flips it back on him in his own
right,
words. And
right,
nobody holds him to task because what he does is he goes, that's a non argument. You're changing the subject. That's a straw man. Yeah, okay, it's a straw man. Answer the freaking straw man.
right.
And so, in my opinion, Dave Smith, again, is an idiot comic who's not even funny. I've asked people to send me a joke. I'm like, I'm being completely honest. If Dave Smith, like I just said, Andrew Schultz is retarded, Theo Vaughn's retarded, but both of them have made me laugh hysterically. Dave Smith
Mhm.
has never done that. So I don't know why he's a comedian or even labeled as a comedian. He should just be a political commentator. That's basically just a recurring guest on Pierce Morgan at this point. But anyway, sorry. What I was saying is the way you end a conflict is to make it untenable for the other side, right? So if you're constantly being told that you have to make it tenable, if you have to make it comfortable for the opposing side, the war goes on forever. So I don't understand why Israel is like if you wanted me to criticize Israel, that's my criticism. Like,
Zach, I will tell you why it's happening. It's happening because of something called Jewish guilt, because we have been hated for so long.
yeah,
We're so
pressure.
exhausted from it. We really we just want to be liked more.
Look,
And it's not as simple as that. There's so many atrocities happening around the world that no one gives a shit about. The entire world is up our asses. They will not allow us to finish this war so we can be left alone in peace.
yeah.
And and
I
we're
think that
giving in. We're
now
giving.
that Trump is back, I think you have a much better shot because
We
it
do,
was
but we're giving this aid. See, listen, I want the Gazan civilians to be in a good position, but not
I
at the
don't.
expense of my but not at the expense of my people. Not at the
Yeah.
expense of my people.
See, that's
What I mean is I want them to go somewhere else because
yeah.
from the looks of it, them staying there in Gaza will probably never lead to anything peaceful.
It's
Just the God's honest truth.
it's such a weird argument, and using the World War II comparison is probably the best way to articulate this, right? It's like imagine saying, right, like, yeah, Hitler's bad, but I also want to make sure that the German citizens are comfortable. It's like nobody did that. Like, and it's
True.
look, and it doesn't make you a monster. I have gone and I have run out of give a fuck on so many things, like especially the murder porn that's constantly getting thrown at me with the struggle sessions and this like virtue signal. So people are like, "You're okay with dead kids?" I finally just go, "Yes, I'm fine with it." Right? I'm fine with the dead kids. Okay, Why? What now? And they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said that." I'm like, dude, this is literally like when you're beating up your spouse and they finally smack you back and you go, "I can't believe you just hit me." And it's
Right.
like, yeah, what you can't believe that you have spent the last year and a half just throwing murder porn at me and telling me that I'm a monster. So when I finally go, "Fine, I'm the monster. I don't care about the kids. I don't care. I don't care. You have made me not care." And they go, "See, this whole time I was right. You don't care." And it's like, no, I
Right.
did care back then. But I think that they have lost the sympathy that they
Yeah.
would rightly have. And I also said this a while back, and I've said it
They
over.
most of them. The truth is most of them. The sad fucking
Here's
truth, and we know it is most of them. Most of them.
support. Yeah.
No, no.
No,
There's none of the thing is a lot of the ones now that are protesting Hamas are only protesting Hamas because Hamas lost.
exactly.
If
Well, that
Hamas had won, if Hamas had actually conquered Israel, they would be enthralled about
I, I
it.
agree, and I said this a long time ago. I said it months and months ago. I said I would be on Gaza's and the Palestinians' side if I saw them attempting to overthrow their own government. I have not seen that one time. You've heard these one or two instances of one family that talks back and they get murdered, right? But you got to remember the Palestinian citizens that in just in the region, right? In the region, they outnumber Hamas like 100 to 1. The Palestinian citizens in Gaza outnumber Hamas 50 to 1. Palestinians in general outnumber Hamas 250 to 1. And it's the same thing with our government. We outnumber our government 250 citizens to 1. The difference is we have about 40% of the world's 1 billion guns. So if we wanted to overthrow our government, it would probably take a weekend. But even the action of organizing against and speaking out against would be enough for people like me to go, you know what? They're trying, but they're not. We watched October 7th. It was a lot of Palestinian citizens that were taking part in October 7th. It
Yeah.
wasn't just Hamas. It was the citizens of the country were spitting on the dead bodies as they were dragged through the streets. They were cutting people's heads off with garden hose. They were setting people on fire. They were raping women. And I can't tell the difference between the good ones and the bad ones. So I have to generalize. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and pretend that I care. I don't. I don't care about some, like, if I see the like Muslim rape gangs in the UK, right? If I see Muslim rape gangs in the UK, I'm like, hey, Muslims in the UK, they're dangerous people. Does that mean I hate every single Muslim that lives in the UK, like some baker who's just quietly, peacefully running a shop? No, of course not. But these generalizations are used all the time in creating arguments, and they're created for a good reason. When the vast majority of a people group is doing something, they represent the people group, and the
Right.
Palestinians are representing themselves as terrorist supporters. So
Right.
sorry, you don't get to have it both ways.
You're fucking 100% right. Shit, you're 100% right. Damn, dude. Wow. Great.
Yeah.
So, so now, I mean, what are we, Israel fought a war on 7 fronts. For the
Mhm.
most part, they dismantled Hezbollah. Iran is still working. That's another mistake. I mean, we
We
didn't,
they should have. I actually I criticize Trump whenever he does something wrong, and I think that Trump is very wrong on trying to play the middle when it comes to um, the like the Middle Eastern conflict, right? He really is. He's getting a lot of pressure for being the president of peace, so he doesn't want to escalate a conflict. So I do understand where he's coming
there's
from,
a lot of pressure coming from Americans,
but
like America from, so yeah,
he should have just killed. He should have just killed Khomeini. He should have just done it.
yeah,
Like, just do it. Just do it. And then, like, hey, you know what? Who cares? People like Dave Smith are going to be upset. Who cares? Who
right.
cares if Dave Smith is mad at you? Like, I honestly don't understand why sometimes people on social media have as much weight as they do. Right? It's
I
like,
guess the argument is it's not just Dave Smith. It might be millions of Americans. He doesn't want to, he wants to get
Yeah,
elected
but
next
not
term.
according to the polling. I mean, he can't get elected next term. This is his last
Right.
term. He's a lame
Oh,
duck
that's true.
president.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
out in 2028. So again, right? He could have just done it and been like, "What are you gonna do? Not vote for me in 2028?" Um, but I think that Trump is not lying when he says he wants peace. I think that he just did the same thing with Putin. He's like, "I've given you a lot of rope, dude, but you have 10 days. Like you have 10 days to end this shit." And I think that Trump is really does want his legacy to be a president of peace, which I can't fault him for. And look, I don't have the information he has. I don't have the military experts that are giving him advice. I don't have any of that. So I'm just looking at it from the view of a contractor in San Antonio, right? I always say this. I
Right.
say, look, I'm as dumb as the people that I call retarded, right? So I don't think that like my opinion really matters on this, but in my opinion, if you do want it, I would have taken out Khomeini. I would have done the full on, like just because Israel took out 90% of them before Trump even, did Operation Midnight
Oh,
Hammer.
it's mind blowing,
I
man.
mean,
I'm
the
telling
beeper
you, it.
bomber, you got the beeper bomber, you got the hotel bomb, like you got Israel is look, for a country the size of New Jersey, they're pretty fucking tough. Like they really are. Like they are I wouldn't want to fuck with them. Like I don't understand why all the people that are like essentially wanting us to be
I'll tell you
giving
why, because it is deeply religiously. It's. You have to understand something. Islam itself, especially, you have the Quran and then you have these like excerpts called the Hadith. You have
yeah,
things that basically command men
to
to
slaughter.
just, yeah, no, it's because it's the Jewish people can't rule such an important piece of real estate. It goes
Yeah.
against everything Islam stands for. So millions and millions of Muslims feel that their mission, their life's purpose
Mm.
is, we cannot let these people rule that sliver of land,
Yeah.
right? It's against God if we do that. Even though realistically, according to other people anyway, it's weird because that's why Islam doesn't make any sense to me. Because you
Yeah, it
have
doesn't mean
parts of
anything.
Islam, parts of the Quran say the Jewish people, same thing as Christianity, the Jewish people, Israel, it literally says it. But then you have excerpts of Islam that say the opposite. So it's very
Well,
strange to me.
I said this to somebody in a debate who was like they were taking the pro Muslim argument and they were like, "Well, why is it that why is it that Christianity and Judaism have a higher standing?" I go, "I don't know because maybe our book wasn't written by a pedophile. Like maybe it's because my book is like I don't know, it's what 72 books written over 1500 years across 9 different continents, and there's 66,000 cross references. What 72 prophecies have becoming true since its writing, and there's historical and theological and archaeological evidence to back it up. Whereas the Quran was essentially written by a pedophile, and then everybody was like, okay, like, yeah,
Uh,
that's it. That's the new religion. Yeah, and I'm like, no, it's a fake book. I mean, look, I
there's
think
a
that
flying elephant. There's a story. Well, first of all, the whole thing of Jerusalem, there's so many things that don't make sense. uh a flying horse, that's where the Temple Mount, the whole thing of the Temple Mount is that
yeah, that's talking about
Muhammad flew to heaven with a flying horse from the Temple Mount. There was
yeah.
also supposedly a flying elephant in some other story.
It's
I think the Shia Muslims believe in a flying elephant or something.
it's like there's so many. I
Uh,
haven't studied the Quran enough to criticize it but I have gone surface level and been able to pick it apart at a surface level with incredible ease, right? Like, and the argument about why am I a theological Zionist, which is what I call myself, right? I'm a Zionist in the sense that I believe that the Jews are God's chosen people and the Christians are Jesus's chosen people, right? We exist together. You have the Abrahamic covenant, we have the new and everlasting covenant. In the end, we're all going to come together and be on the same team, but for now, we'll just agree to disagree, but we get along. Muslims, right? They cannot coexist with either religion, right? Because they're a convert or kill death cult. They are an expansionist, convert or kill death cult. So you can't have that. Like I say that like Christians and Jews are like cousins, right? Like, or I'm sorry, siblings. And Muslims are like that crackhead cousin that you never talk about, right? It's like it's like that one that isn't invited to the family reunion. So and I don't think we're Islamophobic enough. I think that history has shown that there have been they say based on the Global Terrorism Index, over the past 50 years, have been between 48 and 66,000 terrorist attacks in the name of Islam. I mean, we're seeing multiple this year, right? And I'm sorry, but I don't really need to apologize for being, quote, Islamophobic, which is also an oxymoron because a phobia is an irrational fear. And I think it's completely rational to fear a group. And I'm not saying all Muslims, I'm saying Islam specifically, radical Islam, right?
Mm.
The people that follow the charter and the doctrine and they follow it religiously will 100% of the time try to convert you or kill you. It's just history. It's not my opinion. It's just they keep doing it, right?
No, no, you're right. No, you're right about it. The only thing I would say though, and this is something important to mention, is that I do think Christianity as a religion has definitely more components of peace than Islam does, and
Oh, for
Christians
sure.
have reformed, but throughout history, Christians did quite a lot of the conquest also.
More
Like
people have been
we,
killed. More people have been killed in the name of Christianity than any other religion, if you look at it historically. But
yeah, like
since
Jews,
this,
Jews were persecuted in history more by Christians than Muslims.
oh, 100%. But since the Protestant movement and since the church being reformed, I think that we figured it out. And all I'm asking is for Islam to
Much
do
better.
that.
It's much better now. There's no
That's all
question.
I'm
Yeah.
all I'm saying is, right, we modernized Christianity to conform with modern society, and all I'm asking for is Islam to do that too. Right?
Right.
I don't like if you can't do that, then I'm sorry. You're a barbaric and archaic cult. And you're a murder cult. And no, you can't live in America. You can't live anywhere other than
So what's going to be?
I think what it,
I'm saying,
I
what's
think
going to
we
be
need
with
them.
Britain and France, like England? What do you see happening with England? Do you think the English are gonna fight back and are gonna try to do anything, or they're gonna lose England in
I
10,
think that
10, 15?
I think they'll lose it. I think that they don't have the resolve. I think that it's already gotten too bad. You look at the statistics in the European Union. In Germany, the rape statistics are through the roof. The
Yeah.
UK, it's not just that these people have moved there; it's that they're now infiltrated into the government,
Well,
right? So
Germany's in a weird predicament. You see, Germany got some bad karma, and I'll tell you how. You can probably answer it for me.
yeah,
Since what Germany did to not only the Jews, but to anyone, people disabled, special needs, not Aryans, what have you,
yeah,
they put themselves in a position where if they want to ever be decent people again, because let's be honest, they're going to have that reputation for the rest of time till the end of time.
yeah.
And so now they have all these immigrants and they wanted to tell the world that they
Inclusive.
changed.
Yeah,
Huh?
they wanted to be inclusive.
They shot themselves in the foot because now if
Yeah.
they have an immigrant problem and they want to do what they want to essentially solve the problem, that people are going to be like, oh, see, they're doing it again.
This is the problem with overcorrection, okay? And overcorrection works in both directions, right? So it's what we're seeing with the extreme right, with these Stu Peters, like literally just Myron Gaines. They're literally like Hitler, Nick Fuentes. Hitler was awesome. Like, if you
Yeah.
listen to his speeches, no, he fucking wasn't. All right, and you have that on the left, right, where it's like, okay, we're bad, we did a bad thing, so we need to now apologize and we need to be submissive and tolerant, and we need to allow criminals to get away with crimes because
Hmm.
we're so sorry about what our ancestors did. And then you have the right who's like, we're not sorry at all, fuck you, Hitler was great. A middle ground is perfectly fine, guys, right? Like you can go, hey, you know what? We're sorry about what Hitler did, but also you can't come into our country and scream Allah
Right.
Akbar. Like it's
Right.
common sense, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. These skills
It's really crazy that
are
people cannot do.
lost.
But we also have to acknowledge that human beings, as amazing as we can be, we're pretty fucked up.
We're pretty fucking dumb. Yeah,
Like
actually.
that creature behind your couch is so much sweeter than 99.9% of
You have
any
no
of us
idea.
living.
You have no idea.
I
It's literally the
love
sweetest
dogs.
dog.
Dude, I
That
love
dog,
dogs.
I tell
Like,
people all the time, I'm like, you could break into this house and beat the shit out of me on my fucking right in front of him, and he would walk up and just like lick you. Like he's just he doesn't doesn't hurt bugs. Like
yeah.
he'll see a like a fly or something, and he'll just be like, ooh, not a aggressive bone in Gatsby's body, but I'm more jaded. I've been, like you said earlier, anybody who has, if you've been through tragedy, hardship, whatever, and I think that I really do try to center myself because I find myself sometimes becoming too desensitized, where I might take things a little bit too far, but I'm doing it for what I believe is a good enough reason, which is I believe you need somebody who has this ability to say what a lot of people are thinking, right? But
Yeah.
nobody will say out loud. And I think that I cornered the market on that. And I'm not doing it for sensationalism like Candace Owens or Myron Gaines or Stu Peters. I'm doing it because these thoughts that people are having in their head, they need to understand that there are other people that are having them, right? But I also need to be a sensible and reasonable person where I'm not screaming, about like, the globalists are fucking putting the fucking fluoride in the water is turning the frogs gay, like shit like that, right? So like you gotta find that, and that's what I mean by find the middle ground. If you overcorrect, if you allow yourself to become jaded or desensitized, and you don't continuously try to move back to the center, what we're going to have is we're going to have what happened on the left over the past decade, right? Which is the woke movement essentially destroyed this country. And it's not destroyed, it's really damaged. And if you see this overcorrection from the right because of the left, and you don't call that out and you don't bring them back to the middle, and I think that one of the core components of this overcorrection is Jew hatred. And it's not anti Israel hatred. It's not anti Zionism. It's not anti globalism. It's Jew hatred. Every argument they make has Jew in it. It doesn't have Israel in it. Like I said, Elijah Schaffer today making the argument that American Eagle is owned by Jews, right? But says in the same token,
Is he not Jewish? Sounds like
yeah, I think he
sounds
might be.
awfully
I think
sounds
he
awfully
con-
Elijah Schaefer. It sounds
yeah, he
awfully Jewish to me.
converted to Catholicism, but he's not even a Catholic. He was fired from Rebel TV for groping
Sounds
his employees. He's a creep and
oh
a. I didn't know this when I went on his show and I didn't know all this about him. So once I found out, I was like, hey, I'm never coming on your show anyway. But when you have that guy who says, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionist. But then makes all of their arguments with, look at the Jews, right? It's like when you say Ian Carroll, is it Ian Carroll? Yeah, Ian Carroll.
Anko.
Ian Carroll has constantly gaslit his audience saying he is not anti-Jewish. He is anti-Zionist. But then in one of his videos, he goes, I totally J-pilled Elon Musk. What's the J stand for? Because there's no J in the word Israel. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you mean Jew pilled. So anytime these people are making their arguments, and then you have reasonable people like Dan Holloway from Drinking Bros. He's one of the few people where we disagree. He's anti-Israel government, but he is not anti-Jew. And he specifically never makes an argument against Jewish people. He only calls out some things that Mossad have done, which might have been shady, probably are. He's
What
it's
absolutely,
it's a
dude. What
spy
group
agency. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they
I
have.
love how people have this naivete of like, well, these top secret agencies should assassinate their victims fairly. It's like, yes, Mossad is dude.
They're
Mossad is a
savages.
savage. Like, dude, if you're, let's
I
be very
watched this.
frank about some. If
I
you
want.
if Mossad decides that you're gonna die, you gonna die, my friend.
Yeah, I watched this video, or this show. It was Frank Grillo was going to different parts of the world and learning different fighting techniques. So he went to Thailand and learned Muay Thai, and then he went to Israel. And this guy in the IDF was talking about Krav Maga and teaching him about this. And the guy was like, "Look, here's what I do. Right? I'm attack you, I punch you, and I hit you until you die." It's just like he's like you die. He's like, I just hit you till you die. He's like, not like till you're knocked out. No, dead. Right? It's a very savage group. And you know what? The world needs savages, right? And I think that out of any group of people, the people that should be savages are the Jewish people. After everything there have been so many extermination attempts on the Jewish people over the centuries, where it's like, how can you even fault these people for being savages? And by the way, they're not in you know when in comparison to, like, let's say, the Africa, right? Like, like,
Dude, it's not even close. First of all, it's not even close. Like, meaning we have a brilliance to us where we come up with these brilliant ideas of how to overcome our enemy, but we're not running through the streets taking chainsaws, cutting heads off like all these cartels and these
yeah,
favelas and you have in Africa just lighting
the
people
art,
on fire, killing people for infidelity. All over the world, in Syria right now with the Druze, people just
yeah,
you know
they're cutting their
the
heads off and
savage
walking down the streets holding them.
the
Yeah,
savagery that happens around the world. Jewish people don't we listen.
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and say that when Israeli soldiers go into Gaza or go into Lebanon, you don't have these 18, 19, 20-year-old guys with a ton of testosterone that are fucking angry, that
yeah,
do want to kill people. 100%.
yeah,
They're
dude. Fucking
humans. They're
yeah,
humans. They have emotions.
yeah, and
If
you know what?
Hamas just did what they did on October 7th, they kidnapped 250 people, and you expect a human with a helmet, gear, and a gun not to have emotions? You expect him to just, sir, yes, sir, I will do. I will upstand all every law and rule you give me. I will be perfect and not harm
No,
a soul.
it's you
It's
want
such a
I think the army should be I think the majority of people of young men in any military who are going to war to fight for their country to have a fucking vicious mentality when they walk in, because if you walk into any conflict and you're walking in like, well, I better be very careful about who I shoot, right? It's
it's the
like
most it is so
you're
asinine.
not
It is
coming
so
home.
Zach. People do not live in reality. They live
Yeah.
people human beings don't live in reality. It's crazy. They'll watch a show like Vikings or Lord of the
Yeah,
they'll watch a
yeah.
show like Vikings, right? You have Ragnar. He
Slash,
comes
yeah.
on his boat with the big beard, muscles, and axes, and they're just fucking hacking people, right? And everyone's like, "Oh my God!" Women are
Yeah.
sitting on the couch with popcorn, like, "Oh my God, they're so sexy. The way they slaughter people. Oh my God." Right? People love it.
Yeah.
People love it. It's not real. It's on a screen. It's a show. Someone made it. This
You
used
know,
to happen, and it still does.
well, you have
Because
the
humans, and this is people used to do it for sport. Humans, they
I
didn't
think
have TVs and newspapers and things to keep them busy. They used to just conquer places for resources, money, women. This is
yeah.
what people did. Now we don't it still happens. The Jewish people, we're not interested in Gaza because we want their women or their money. We literally want them to leave us alone.
Yeah. I think that a good historical comparison, modern historical comparison would be there were some Americans in Vietnam who were doing very shady shit. They were raping women, they were killing kids, and it was, it was guerrilla warfare. And they had the mentality of, if these people are savages, we're going to be savages. And what happened was, you'd have these reports and you'd have these whistleblowers. And then when they came home, these liberals would spit on every soldier that got off the bus. Well, every soldier wasn't raping people, right? Every soldier wasn't killing kids. There were the vast majority of the soldiers were just there to fight for their nation, and they were trained by our military to be killers. And you're getting mad at them for going over there and doing what they were trained to do.
It's so easy. First of all, I would never condone the acts you mentioned,
No, me
right?
neither.
No one anyone who condones it and says it's fine has a problem. But to also not have enough of an understanding that if you put a human being in a life or death situation against people who want to slaughter you, and they might not let you off easy and put a bullet in your head. They
Yeah,
might cut your limbs, they might take your nails off, they might torture you for
yeah,
months or years. Okay,
mm,
they might shoot you in the balls, cut your eye, take your eyeballs out. You don't know what they'll do to you,
yeah,
and you're expected to just act like this wonderful, well-behaved, law-abiding, tax-paying citizen.
yeah.
And while people sitting at home while you go out to battle are sitting there criticizing your morality. It's
Well,
very easy. I'm not saying that the people shouldn't be able to criticize, but to not have enough of a wherewithal to say, I'm not the one out there putting my life on the line. That person is. Let me have a little bit of grace.
Well, there was a special operations operator who put a post on X talking about what he saw in Afghanistan. He goes, you want to know you want to know who these people are? He goes, I don't have to tell you about the stories where I heard a 12-year-old boy screaming because he was being raped by his general. And when I went to intervene, my superior told me I couldn't intervene because it's the culture over there, right? So like their culture where they literally can rape young boys and like right in front of the American military, and we can't stop it. He's like, I was picking bodies out of a ditch and they were literally just hacked up into pieces. And he went through this very detailed account. He goes, don't tell me these people can be part of civilized society because I've seen it with my own eyes what they can do, right? And it's like, and again, he's generalizing, and that does not mean every Muslim. It does not mean every Afghani. It does not mean every Palestinian. It does not mean every person. But like I said earlier, when you have a stereotype that exists for a reason, right? When you have a people group who is not, the majority is not fighting back against that type of behavior, then they're essentially like condoning it. Like I said one time, I go, I think that if my government committed October 7th, we would overthrow the government, right? If the American government went into another country, raped, murdered, slaughtered, filmed it, put it on Telegram, bragged about it, if I saw American soldiers and the American government, if I saw people apologizing for the American government, or sorry, yeah, to the American government about how other nations didn't like what we did, I think that hopefully, I really hope that a group of American citizens would get together and go, nope, that's not my government. That we cannot allow that. We cannot condone that. Grab your guns. We're going to the Capitol. That hasn't happened in Gaza, right? That hasn't happened in the Middle East. That hasn't happened from other nations. In fact, you have a lot of other nations like Iran, who's just continuously supplying them. You have the Houthis who are joining in. You have like I mean, what not Syria, Saudi Arabia. There's some nations who are remaining kind of neutral but staying out of it. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, but there's not enough global condemnation for Hamas. In fact, it's like a bunch of people are making excuses for them. There should be global. Everybody should just storm Gaza and be like, until
But,
Hamas is
but
gone, we're going to stand with Israel. But it
yeah, the
didn't. But
truth
it
is
didn't
it's not
happen.
just it's not Hamas though. It's not because the reality is I've been
It's
mentioning her a lot. I've been mentioning her a lot because she's fantastic. I would really like you to listen to one episode I recently had with a former Knesset member. Her name is Einat Wilf, and we went into the fact that it's not Hamas. It's what she coins Palestinianism.
yeah,
And what she means by that is it's an overall population ideology that is unwilling to accept the reality that they have been defeated.
yeah,
And much of the world, including UNRWA and the UN, see them as refugees, and there's no definition of what that refugee status means. Whereas that what it essentially means to many Palestinians is that they will continue to fight until they actually take over Israel and defeat Israel.
yeah,
Until then, they're refugees. And
yeah,
that solves no purpose. It does nothing because Israel is a recognized country. It has been since 1948. It has a military, it has an economy. It's a full-fledged country. And
yeah.
so until the Palestinians overall say, you know what, we accept that the Jewish state exists, whether we like it or not, there is no peace to be had because once Hamas is dismantled, there will be Islamic Jihad, there will maybe be Fatah, there will be ABC Jihad, there'll be this group and that group. Until the population decides to give up the ideology, nothing will make any sort of a difference.
Well,
So
I
it's
mean,
not,
think about what they're also saying. They're saying globalize the Intifada in reaction to this conflict, right? This conflict started that talking point, right? Globalize the Intifada. So the Intifada was, according to them, this isn't reality, but according to them, the Intifada was the Palestinians fighting back against the oppressing settlers of Israel, right? And then we need to
Mhm.
globalize that. Right. So globalize means across the globe. It means everywhere. It means in the UK. It means in the EU. It means in America, anywhere they are. Globalize it. And what happens as a result of that? When I was debating Owen Schroyer, he said okay, they chant free Palestine in Seattle. You're gonna bomb, or you're gonna bomb Seattle. And he goes, when did the words hurt you? I go, words can hurt you when they get turned into action. When free
Yeah,
Palestine and globalize the Intifada turns into the two kids getting shot in DC and the people getting set on fire in Boulder, that's when words hurt you. Right.
Right.
And I'm a free speech absolutist. You can say whatever you want, but there is a terroristic threats clause in our Constitution specifically for this reason, because stochastic terrorism is exactly what Hitler's ideology was framed around. Rile people up with language until they do it, right?
right.
Hitler gets to sit in his freaking bunker, right? Just like the people in Qatar that basically run Hamas, they're sitting there just, they got no problems. They're billionaires, right? Iran, I mean, this is why I really think we should have taken out Khomeini, because it would have just been a statement. It would have been a statement of, you fund terrorists, you die, you know?
Right.
So I don't know how to solve the problem, but I know that what you can't do is have a two-state solution or allow the Palestinians or Hamas to remain in that position that they're currently in. They can do one of two things, right? They can join peacefully into Israel
By the way,
Hamas.
thank you for acknowledging that there's no such thing as a two-state solution. It was
There is no
never.
well, first of all,
It was
Palestine.
never. It was
What's
never.
the what's the currency in Palestine? That's what do you mean two-state solution? It's not a
No, but
state.
the truth is unfortunately the Jewish people in Israel believed in this idiocy all this time. See, a lot
Yeah.
of what you've heard of the term Hasbara, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It basically means explaining in Hebrew, which is the whole concept of it is very dumb. But it's pro-Israel advocacy, so to speak. And so many pro-Israel advocates like to make this argument of, well, we offered them two states this time and this time and the Peel
Yeah.
Commission and the partition plan and this, and they never accepted it. You're an idiot for ever thinking they were going to.
Yeah,
The
you're
truth
negotiating
is
with terrorists.
the truth is it's deeper than that. And there's a rabbi, a very well-known rabbi that I had on my show that put it beautifully. He said, when Jewish people offer Palestinians, quote unquote, offer Arab Muslims part of Israel, the Arabs say in response, who are you to offer me my
What
land?
exactly? Yeah,
They're saying
and
the whole thing is mine. The whole thing is mine, and you're going
oh,
to offer me part of it. I want the whole thing. So if the Jewish people want to actually, and we have a stronger claim than anybody to it, aside from the fact that we conquered it. This is the way the world works.
yeah, you
Land belongs to whoever purchases it or fights and wins for it. Okay, this is the blunt, fucking honest truth. This is how the world
I
works.
think you're the only
But
nation in the world where the indigenous people are still in the land that they started in, right? Like
100%.
you're the
That's
like
why it's
it's
also so. This is what blows people's minds. Is this is the first time that I can think of, especially after 2,000 years, that an indigenous group came back, fought for it, and won. That's
yeah,
like the Native Americans right now
having America
waging a war against everyone in America, beating us.
and winning.
And
Exactly.
the reality is if they did it, I'd say, you know what?
Hey, good
Fuck.
job. I'm an American, and I'd say, hey,
I'd
you
say, hey, fuck, you won. Hey, treat me fairly.
it
I hope you
sucks.
don't kill me. But like,
Yeah,
if
guess I'll
they
go.
did, if the natives fucking won, listen, I'd be like, hell. The truth is, I don't even know if they were really reasonable. If they said, listen, we want to open up more casinos, blah blah blah. If I knew they wouldn't slaughter me, if I had good reason to believe they wouldn't, I'd be like, hey man, fuck. Like
Yes. What,
who am I to say, who am I to hate on you for it?
what are you gonna do?
I don't know what
No,
the holiday would be called. I don't know what the holiday like July 4th.
it would be called Hey, how are you? So so the thing about Israel is they're not an expansionist nation, right? And I my criticism again of Israel would be that they actually have this mentality of good enough and well enough alone, and you know what? I think that maybe that region would be a better place if Israel was a little bit more expansionist, if they tried a little bit harder to fight for what they believe is theirs. I think that you guys believe it's yours. Fight harder for it, right? Because if you look at the Arab expansion over the past, like I don't know, I think it's like 1,700 years, it's like cancer spreading, right? It started in this little Middle Eastern region. Now it's in Africa, it's in Europe, and then you look at Israel, and it's this little tiny dot, and it's like you guys are just accepting, well, this is what we get. And I mean, then you have the people that are like, oh my God, they want greater Israel. First of all, they don't. But even if they did, why the fuck not? Right? Why wouldn't you want greater Israel? I mean, are you saying that if America was forced to shrink itself down to the size of Texas, right? We would be okay with that? No, we'd be like, no, we want Massachusetts and California and Oregon. We want all of it because it's ours, right? If America was forced to shrink itself down into one state, and some other country, some other group of people was taking over, I think in 250 years we'd be like, we were once a great nation and we should take it back. And I don't think Israel has that mentality, but Arabs do. Arabs want to spread everywhere, right? Islam wants to spread everywhere, and it's working. They are out fucking, they are making more babies, and they are like a cancer spreading to the west. And if we allow it, if they do, if we let the Zohran Mamdanis continue to run the biggest city in the world and move into our politics, we're gonna look just like the UK. We're gonna look just like Germany. And you guys are dealing with the hub of it. And I don't understand how people can't see that that's a conflicting
Listen,
idea. Paul, go.
I, as far as we're concerned, whether God wants to eventually make this the country of Israel larger at some point, that'll be if it is, it'll be. But it's just not of interest to the vast majority of Jews. We're happy with what we have. We
Oh, I
just
know
want to
you
be
are.
left alone. Everyone's up our ass about, oh, they want to do that. It's like, no,
No, you don't.
believe me, just stop attacking us and you'll be so shocked by how peaceful everything is. You'd be shocked. You know who knows that very well? Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They know that very well. It's just
Yeah.
that easy.
I mean, look at the
Just
wall. Look at
just
the
two words. Fuck off.
Look at the
Fuck off.
wall. Look at the wall on the Egyptian border, right?
Yeah.
That wall says fuck you, right? Every
Mhm.
inch of that wall it's razor wire on top of like, wall. Like you can't
It's
get in
yeah,
there.
the Egyptian border is so serious.
It's like,
Nobody cares.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You're telling me that you have no problem with Egypt saying, fuck you, you're not coming in, Palestinians, right? Like, no, we're not. Even though that they have more of an ethnic tie to that land than they do of Gaza. But that they're saying that you're the problem because you won't allow these people to inhabit your land when their doctrine, their charter is basically saying we got to kill you. Right. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't think there's any other nation that would accept that. So, again, I understand it, but I also don't
Do
understand
you know what
how,
Egypt, do you know what Egypt would do if the Gazans invaded Egypt and did that to the Egyptians? The
oh,
Egyptian army
they blow them
would
up.
slaughter all of them. Like
Everyone.
they would kill the animals in it. They would
Yeah.
literally kill every living. They'd probably kill the whatever the trees, the plants. They would forget it.
Well, I
Everybody.
hate I hate using whataboutism as an argument, but unfortunately,
Right.
you kind of have to, where it's like, okay,
I just know it's the case. It is a
it
whataboutism argument, but I just know
no,
it's
no,
the
no,
case.
no, no, no. I'm going to use it where I'm saying if you look at the Syrians and the conflicts in the Congo and in Yemen, Jordan, if you look at all these surrounding areas where they're slaughtering each other all the time, or even Christians, a lot of the time it's Christians, right? This ideology which is killing people just, I don't know, 150, 200, 1,000 miles away, but the only fucking thing they see, they do this. They take their freaking magnifying glass and they just look at Israel and they're like, look at what's happening right there. And it's like, hey, zoom out, right? And I don't see Candace Owens bitching about that. In fact, anytime the Muslims and the Islam slaughters people in the Congo, Yemen, Syria, they quiet. But if one IDF soldier does something a little bit uncouth, right? It's like we need to talk about this for a week.
The argument some people make is we don't give a shit what Israel and what happens between these two groups. We don't like that our tax money is going to them.
It's a
To
good
which
argument.
to which I would say, I don't like that Israel has any sort of military help from America. By the way, I don't like that. The reality is that Israel could manufacture what they're getting. The problem is that the United States government is essentially using Israel as a proxy, so they can
Yeah.
have an extended arm in the Middle East. They're not doing it. Do you have evangelicals? Do you have Christians that from a religious level believe in doing so? Yes, that's also for their own reasons. But the
Sure.
reality is that Israel loses by doing this because they can't, when it comes down to doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Since 1948, there have been constant circumstances where Israel had its enemies on their knees. They could have finished the job. They could have
And
actually
that's
finished the war. And America said, no, 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 wait a minute, wait a minute,
Hey,
wait a
whoa,
minute.
whoa, whoa, hold on. We have interests over there. No, I agree with you 100%.
And so
And
and
look,
so
the
Israel can trade. The problem is we have restrictions. We get this funding, and all this money has to be spent back into the
yeah, it's a
American
weird money
industrial
laundering
complex.
operation. Yeah.
It's money laundering. America benefits from it financially as well. It's a sick thing. It would be much better if Israel manufactured all these things themselves. They can trade with other countries. They'd end up making more money from it. But the truth is I think is Israel is afraid of being such a tiny country and such a huge region with so many enemies.
I think it benefit. All
Um,
right, I think that our relationship is beneficial, right? And I think that it benefits Israel in an enough of a way where I would say that it's worth that rare moment, those rare occasions when, we might have a little bit of sway over whether or not you guys get to finish your job or
I
whatever like
I
that.
mean I wish we could be allies without that. I wish we can trade
Oh,
instead
I,
of
I wish
being.
so. And you know what? The vast majority of money that people think goes to Israel as like just some gift, it really isn't. It's a lot of it is trade, a lot of it's direct spending, a lot of, like you said, right? All that humanitarian aid, you have to buy our weapons with it. So it's a
Yeah,
weird. I don't like it, by the way. I think it's a weird thing. Where it's basically if I handed you $100 and then said you
yeah.
have to spend this at my store, right? Like it's like, did I even give you money? I
I
don't
mean,
understand.
I mean, you did in a way. I mean, like
Like
in a way,
it's
but you're still.
it's
Yeah, I
like,
don't know. It's a
like
weird.
I own like if I own like a clothing store and I'm like, I'm gonna give you $100, but you have to spend it at my store. And people would be like, why did you do that? I don't know, because I want to increase revenue. And it's like, yeah, but you're using your own money to, so we actually lose a little bit in that regard. And Israel does benefit because you get to buy weapons with our money. So it's weird. But
Sure, but it comes with a lot of restrictions.
it
It
does.
comes with
It
a lot of
comes,
restrictions.
and that's exactly why they do it. They do it as a form of control because America, whether you like it or not, and with all of its flaws, right? We unfortunately have become the world police, right? We have to
Yeah,
think of all of our interests around the world in all these other places. So we have to use Israel as our proxy in that region.
mhm.
That's not to say that the relationship and the allyship and the partnership is not genuine, where we really do care about the Israeli people, where we really do have a genuine love and support for the people. But as far as politics goes, and and that shady foreign government spending bullshit, I would be happy getting rid of it, which is why I said it is a good argument. However, it is also a hyper conflated argument that people use. Like people like Nick Fuentes think that that's like the craziest thing. And it's like we also do it with other nations, by the way. You know
First of
that,
all,
right? Like,
Egypt, Jordan, they give him money just to shut him up.
yeah,
Uh,
we
uh,
give gifts and yeah,
Ukraine. First of all, Ukraine received more money since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war than Israel got since 1948.
exactly. And nobody bitched about the 250 billion to 300 something billion dollars where we literally just gave it to them. There was no agreement. There was no, we're going to give you this money, but you got to give us something back. We just gave it to them. So what I'm seeing is selective outrage, fake outrage, and I'm seeing people use that talking point, which again is a good argument. Just like the APAC argument is a good argument. I don't like PACs. I don't
Right.
think that I don't think that we should have any foreign, but well, it is an American. I don't think we should have an American PAC that benefits foreign interests in our government influencing our political figures because APAC gives the same amount of money to Hakeem Jeffries that they do to a conservative
Right.
politician. They don't care. If you support Israel, we support you. So they support Democrats, they support people that hate America, and you can make that argument. But again, selective outrage, fake outrage. If you talk about PACs, I want to hear you talk about it across the board. I want to hear you talk about the National Association of Realtors. I want to hear you talk about the Big Pharma PAC. I want you to talk about all of these. When I see you cherry pick and use the one Jewish PAC to go after Israel, I know it's disingenuous. So
Yeah,
my argument is that your argument would hold a lot more weight, like these people like Nick Fuentes, if you weren't cherry picking, but you are. So
mhm.
it's not about what you're saying it's about the Jews.
Nick Fuentes would be a very interesting character to talk to.
No, he's retarded. I just found out that he was 26 and it makes perfect sense. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're a baby."
What's also crazy is that he's such a white nationalist, but he's part Mexican of Mexican heritage.
You got Kanye. If Hitler could be resurrected and see who his supporters are, he'd lose his mind. So you got
Crazy, right?
Myron Gaines, a black Sudanese white supremacist, Nick Fuentes, a half Mexican twink, and Kanye West, a black rapper with schizophrenia. It's like Hitler would be like, "What the fuck did you do? What did you do with my thing? You ruined my thing."
Yeah, this is not how my thing works. Yes, it's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Nazism and Islam, they've always been great bedfellows. You had Hitler that was being very friendly with the
Husseini.
Islamic leaders. Yeah, yep, exactly. And it's because that whole the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And what we're seeing here with this selective outrage is we're also seeing a non-selective outrage, right? Like I said, when you see these the Muslims in the Congo slaughtering Christians, when you see the Muslims slaughtering Christians in Yemen, when you see them slaughtering each other, nobody fucking cares. Which is why I said, no, I don't care about the kids because you don't care either, right? You don't care that there are kids dying every day in that region unless it's that little dot with Israel. That's the only time you care. And by the way,
Yeah,
but one final point, Gaza is like what, 3 miles long, right? It's really
something like that.
small.
It's tiny. Yeah.
It's like this tiny area, right? And like we're so outraged. We're not even outraged over some conflict that's happening in Israel, like in all of Israel. It's a 3 mile strip of land. It's like it's already destroyed, and it's like it's already Beirut. So why are we continuously going we're like recycling that argument where it's like, oh my God, can you believe that Israel fired a rocket into the place that they fired a rocket into last month? Yeah, I can believe it. It's a war. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, can't believe they dropped a nuclear bomb on a nuclear testing site either. Can't believe that the Wuhan lab was the place that coronavirus started. I can't believe that common sense. Yeah, it's a fucking war. If and again, if there are civilians, if there are innocent civilians in Gaza and they haven't gotten out yet, they're fucking stupid or they're being held hostage. Those are the only two options because Hamas is not letting them leave, or they support Hamas, or they're stupid and they don't realize that there's been a war going on.
Supposedly some just got to Canada. I mean, there have been those who've left. There have been thousands of them who've
And
left. I just don't know.
those are probably the innocent Palestinians.
Well,
Like the
they also have the money too, but they're trying to find ways. I mean, whatever. It's complicated.
Look, man,
They,
if there was a war in Texas that started tomorrow, I would be the fuck out of here. All right? Like I love Texas. I love this place. This is my home. But if they started dropping bombs outside, I'd go, "Hey, you know what? We got to go." And if somebody tried to stop me from leaving, I would shoot that person.
right.
Yeah.
What would be your argument about saying like, oh, I would want to fight for Texas? Well, why are you so quick to say like, I'm done, I'm out of here?
Well, because self-preservation and it's like I don't think that the Palestinian people's argument of this is my home, this is my land, and we're gonna fight for it holds any weight because the people who they are fighting under are a terrorist organization, right? It would be one thing if there was a civil war between two civilized nations, right? Where it was like let's say, I don't know, let's say freaking the UK and France. Okay, like
Mhm.
let's say the UK and France started fighting, and or even you know what, Russia Ukraine is actually pretty comparable. I mean, sure they have two dictators that are corrupt, but the people, the soldiers, I wouldn't say that either side is evil. right? I wouldn't say that the Russian people are evil. I wouldn't say that Ukrainian people are evil, and they are essentially fighting for their land. So that's the argument to be made. However, if Putin was Khomeini, right, then you lose that argument, right? Like you can't fight under somebody like Khomeini or somebody like Hamas or somebody like, Assad and say we're the good guys. When I hear that they're a rebel force or they're a resistance, right? If you're a resistance group, you don't hide behind your civilians. You don't dress like civilians so that you can blend in. You have rules of war and you engage in a civilized war, which is an oxymoron, but it still happens, right? There are rules of war where you identify yourself, you pick a place to fight, you fight there, you minimize civilian casualties, et cetera, et cetera. Israel is trying to do that. Hamas isn't. So the argument for anybody fighting against Israel, they need to acknowledge that they are fighting under a terrorist group. And now, because you are fighting under a terrorist group, you have now become terrorists. And if you are a terrorist, you are not, this isn't a war, right? This isn't a normal war. This is, you need to die. And that there is no two-state solution. There's no end game. It's basically Hitler versus the Allies.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, this concludes our episode.
Yeah, that was a good talk, man.
I'm glad you enjoyed, man. I had a great time. Glad we finally got to sit down.
Yeah, man, send me that podcast you want me to watch, and I'll check it out.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any finishing thoughts? Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I mean, well,
We're good.
I wasn't sure the direction of this, conversation. I always just say yes to people, and I'm like, whatever we talk about, it's going to be good. So this was a good conversation about something that I was very vocal about, and I sort of backed off about it because it's becoming very repetitive. But it does. I'm glad that we did this because it does a great service to everybody to constantly remind people what's going on. Because one thing that I think happens a lot, it's definitely happened in the Ukraine war. Nobody gives a fuck about that anymore, right? Is people just become desensitized and complacent, where they just go, whatever, you know? And I think that the other side, the side that you and I are not on, they're not getting any quieter. So I think that we need to be as loud as possible. So I appreciate you bringing me on, and we could, at least try to educate some people, even though that's kind of it's like a fool's errand at this point. I think that everybody's picked their team and they're not moving. So may the best man win.
No, there's a lot of people that aren't really sure. There are a lot of people who don't really know. So
I think after almost 2 years, it's almost 2 years now. I think if you haven't figured it out by now, then I don't know what to tell you. But you're right. There could, even if it's one person where they go, "Oh, I actually didn't know that." Like if you didn't know that Hamas actually did rape women on October 7th, like, and they did a whole documentary called Screams Before Silence. Go watch it, where they have eyewitness testimony, eyewitness accounts, multiple victims saying that they were raped in captivity. And then you've only been fed this talking point of Hamas didn't rape any women. That's bullshit. Like then, yeah, then
well,
maybe.
they're because there are people that won't believe it unless they actually saw footage of it happening. Like they just don't want to,
Yeah, but
acknowledge it.
there is footage of Hamas walking up to women who were on their knees and shooting them dead in a field. That's on video. You can see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
think that somebody can walk up to an innocent, unarmed woman who is on her knees and pull the trigger like they're going grocery shopping, but they wouldn't rape them, I mean, come on. Common sense, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. It's that easy.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
man. Well,
Yeah.
I will look forward to this episode dropping. And yeah, like you said in my in the bio, I'm on Rumble. Usually, I sometimes miss shows because I have a big boy job. But I'm usually on at 7 a.m. Central, Tuesdays through Thursdays.
Fantabulous. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Zack Bonifilio, aka Misfit Patriot. Make sure to subscribe, like, share. Make sure to check out all of his content. Follow him, watch his podcast on Rumble.
And get over
And
to
of
Rumble,
course,
man. Make an account.
yeah, no, I should. I really should. I really should. But yes, guys, real estate, of course, reach out to me. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.
See you later.